Ready.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our brand reveal today. We are really excited to be doing this, and it's so amazing to have so many of you here today. I'm going to be joined this morning by Ali Lario, who is an amazing Brazilian creative who lives in London, formerly lived in New York, and is an activator with us. And Ali has helped us navigate this crazy journey over the last year. Just for a little bit of background, when we first started SheEO, we had very sort of polarizing feedback around the name. There were people who just loved it and said, this is brilliant, redefining leadership in a whole new way from this feminine lens. And there were other people who were like, I don't want some special cutesy name, and put us in the bucket with girl boss and sexy with heels and all those other kinds of things. And if you sort of Google SheEO out in the world, you'll see that it is often like a derogatory, people say it's a derogatory term for women in leadership. And so it has this polarizing effect, in case you didn't know that. And so from the beginning, we've faced that kind of feedback, that it was a trite or a cutesy kind of name. And we're here to do serious work to transform systems and to work on the world's to-do list. So that was a bit of a challenge. And so we listened to that and then just said, we're going to just show that we're different and we're not some cutesy thing. And over time, what started to happen is that we are not inclusive enough for the definition of women identifying, gender non-binary at the time that we're in the world right now. And that started to really become clearer and clearer over the last couple of years. And so we've been wondering about a name change and what we would do to update our brand to fit with the times. And so Ali came along at the recommendation of another activator, who was the one who created the priceless campaign for MasterCard and the easy button for Staples. She's just this incredible creative. And she said, Ali is the one. She's created this global network of 6,000 women creatives, and I think she'll totally get this. And so we met and we went on this journey last fall, where she went on a big exploration, and they came up with 108 different names that we could explore. And so Ali, I'm going to turn it over to you a little bit about the journey and why we started this.
Great, thank you, Vicki. Thanks for the very kind words. Hannah, do you want me to present, or is it easier if you present? Or do you want to do the deck, or don't want to do the deck?
Yeah, I can put up the deck, or you can. I gave you co-host, so whatever works. Do you want me to share it, or?
Yeah, okay. Okay, so we wanted to do a little bit of background where all this came from, because as Vicki mentioned, it kind of started with changing the name, but we cannot change a name based on nothing, right? Like, we can't just kind of sit here and think about random things. So the process was a little bit like, okay, if we want to come up with a new name, let's take a step back and think about, okay, what is this company? What is its purpose? What does it stand for? It's something akin to what we call in brand strategy, some of you might know, a brand platform. So, and based on that brand platform and what our values and what we stand for, we can then create such things like the name or refresh a visual identity or create a tone of voice. So we had to take that step back in order to go forwards. So, and also that step back to create the brand platform wasn't, again, it was informed by talking to activators, doing research with activators and ventures, trying to figure out what is SheEO, what are its kind of core values and what it stands for. So we've created, so we've done all that work. And what you see here today is just the summary of some of the work that's been done. So if we can go through it, I think if we can keep moving on the slides. Yeah, so that all started in 2019 when we started looking at the name. And then we took a step back, so we can jump this one. And then for those of you who don't know, a brand platform that we created is a kind of strategic framework that can inform your visual identity, can inform your name, but also does many other things. For example, it kind of filters partnerships, communications, like if we were to do like an advertising campaign, it helps to guide that. and kind of informs even like who we hire, corporate culture. It can use for a bunch of other things. So it's a really useful document to have when you either creating a brand from scratch or trying to grow it and take it further. So this is what we came up with based on all the interviews and a bunch of workshops. This document is the brand platform. It kind of reads like from the bottom and then across left and right and down to the middle on the purpose. And I'm just going to go kind of read it and go through as we do it. So the core belief is like, we really believe in this idea of abundance. All of us that have been to the meetings, we know what this is, a really core philosophy, right? For SheEO. And together we have everything that we need. Is right here. So this is our core belief. Our positioning is something like how we are different from, say, other organizations is we are different because of the practice of radical generosity. And this whole new operating system that comes with SheEO, right? Offering a new perspective, different ways of doing things. The proof points we all know is not only a different way of selecting ventures, is kind of is a new way of generating funding. It's a new everything. So we know all these kind of proof points. And if you read on the left-hand column, what the functional benefits, what SheEO is women getting to get together to activate a fund that creates benefits beyond currency flow. So it's not just about the money, it's about everything else that you get. It's not just about what we generate as activators to help the ventures. It's much more than that. And if we read kind of on the right-hand side, our values are kind, we're very brave. We can see that all the time, including the new refresh that we're going to talk about in a bit. Amplified, like people are always helping each other, making each other evolve, making like the brand itself is kind of always evolved. It's transformative. We always kind of changing, looking at things a different way, wanting something better for the world. And the emotional benefits all the way up top are what it makes people feel. And we heard that really loud and clear on all the interviews. Women felt that they were part of co-creating the world they wanted to live in again and again, because it's something that, you know, the SheEO is like, you're always there. And then you react as an activator, you're kind of participating over and over. And the actual fund is perpetual as well. So, and in the middle, we got to the core purpose, which is the really interesting, resonated with a lot of people that we spoke to. If you kind of aggregate like what is at the heart of what people were saying, is really like we activate the change agent inside every woman. Whether you're a venture and was having trouble getting your idea out there, or where you're an activator and wanted to do something different, and wanted to feel that something was not right with the current status quo and wanted to do something bigger and better, that kind of change is what we activate with SheEO. So I would just kind of stop here, let it kind of sink a little bit. If people have any questions, we can kind of go through it as we go along as well. But the purpose is something that we really love, this idea of like activating. The word activation is really important here, activating the change agent inside each one of us, right? And whether we're the venture and activator, what gets activated inside you is completely transformative. We feel like all the women that we spoke to, whether it's a venture or an activator, feel that they are part of this change. And I think that's what it's really interesting, because in all other organizations, you don't feel like you are part of the change as much. So something to kind of sink in and think about. So our differentiation, right? So our positioning, again, if you think about the roots of this differentiation is, first, we have this kind of radical philosophy, like the thinking is radical, the doing is radical, which is the practice of radical generosity, and the whole process is different, right? So we have kind of radical thinking, doing, and a radical process, the way everything has, the way ventures apply, the way ventures get chosen, everything is different, including the process. And then just goes to the next page, Hannah, please. So what are the implications for the brand story, right? If we are this brand that activates the change agent inside every woman, and we have this like thinking abundance that inform this practice, which is radical generosity, what does that mean? Like if we were to transform things into like a name or a visual identity, what does that mean? Well, we know that this is a whole new operating system that we built together, and building together is really important here. And then you'll see how that expresses later. So that's number one. So the kind of, and then we not only do it together, but what our thinking and our practice, our radical thinking and our radical practice, which is radical generosity, activates, is bigger than just the funding itself. It activates a bunch of things: new relationships, expertise, confidence, influence, affirmation. We heard a lot as well. So it's kind of this collection of things and ends and pluses. Like it's all these things that it activates. It's not just one thing. So this is kind of another thing that we found out. And then the third thing is like maybe we could use this idea of like this activation plus and end to kind of create a visual identity, because it's SheEO and you, is SheEO and ventures, SheEO and activators, is activators and activators, is me and you. So everything that we do together. So these are like the implications for, you know, at the time, what we thought, okay, now that we have the brand platform, here are some implications that are going to help us choose a name, and also help us rethink the visual identity a little bit. And the principles again are, you know, what we do the radical philosophy and practice is a new operating system for the world. The radical generosity activates, what it activates is beyond capital, in its new relationships, resources, power with, confidence, and many other things. And what it activates is varied and diverse. It's a collection of ends and pluses. And we could use that to express our visual identity. So Vicki said that we kind of explored about, I think the total was 117 names. Nothing felt quite right, but we will talk about it anyways. Like we kind of take you on the journey and tell you like where we've been. For people that have been through a naming process, there are some kind of qualities, as well as coming from a brand platform. The name has to be simple. It has to kind of, you know, spark an emotion. It has to be memorable. It has to be ownable. And then if we go to the next one, so based on our brand platform and those parameters, we kind of concepted around kind of 3 areas, right? So you're not like completely concepting from nothing. So you always have to concept around the brand platform. And these are the areas that we concepted around from the brand platform: the area of abundance and generosity, the area of co-creation, and the area of activation. So we're gonna show you like some of the names that we thought, and also knowing that none of these felt quite right, but then we're gonna talk about something else that felt right after this. The first one was then collectively, and we meaning that based on the idea of we do this together. If you go to the next slide, it's kind of like a jumping off point. And collectively, we fund women and businesses. Collectively, we do things. Collectively, we create a new operating system. And if you go like to the next slide, we could think about what is the bigger idea. Collectively, we change the world. This could perhaps be a campaign. You know, if you were to kind of do comms, build a better future, or if you want to think about things that we want to be in the future, like the brand architecture, if we wanted to be a bank, it would be called a collective fund. And then we had like ideas for campaigns like collective and collectively a bigo, like for example, use a name of a venture. So these are all the ideas to just see if a name has legs, meaning can it be stretched. So that was the first name that we came up with, and a few ideas kind of how to express it. Another one that was based on the brand platform was this idea of like activation, right? Activate the change agency inside every woman. So the name that we thought, I'm just going to go through 3, was activated.world. Activated.world, and if you go to the next slide, it's kind of the moment that you get awakened, kind of like felt like that kind of moment where everything transformed. It wasn't just about activating 1 million women, it's about activating a new world. And if you go to the next slide, It could be used in comms like, you know, activating what? A fairer world or a greener world, etc. Or if we're going to have products and services, it could be the activators fund or a bank or a school. And in terms of like visual ideas, we could activate ecosystems, etc. So this is how it could be expressed, like activated world is like 1 million women, 1 billion fund, a fairer world, activated. This is kind of how we used. And the third option that we talked about was this kind of idea of radical generosity. So on that concept, what name could that spark? And we kind of use the name that is being used already, like, which is Gen. And then that's kind of the idea of radical generosity, really highlighting that and using Gen world. That didn't feel quite right because it kind of, a few people felt, we also been validated this all along with some activators and ventures. Some people felt that there was a bit like surfers, like rad. So this is kind of, again, ideas on how it could be used. And the next slide, again, visual ideas on how it could be used. So we've been through all these names. We discussed with a bunch of activators and ventures. Nothing felt quite right? But going back to the brand platform, what it felt right was how that could be expressed visually. And I think with that idea, like if you remember the brand platform being, okay, we are here to kind of activate the change agent inside every woman. And with SheEO is much more than the actual fund, this SheEO and all these other things. That's kind of, we went back to the brand platform and said, okay, if we didn't come up with a name, what else can we kind of do this? And therefore came, okay, let's look at the brand, the actual visuals and the identity. And I'm going to pass on to Vicki if you want to take it from that, Vicki, or otherwise I can continue, or Hannah.
I'll jump in. Thank you. I am going to, so thank you very much, Ali. There's a lot of thinking behind this. It went from, you know, and at the end of all of this, the real conversation that we had was, is one of these names dramatically better than SheEO? And we just couldn't land on something. And so we shelved it and just left it as of the beginning of this year. But I still mentioned at the Global Summit that we were considering what would happen. And one of the things I just want to say that we practice at SheEO all the time is, if something happens with ease, we know it's the right time. And if something's really hard and it's just not working, then we know it's just not the right time. We do believe a name changes in our future, but right now we are between worlds. The old world is sort of failing in front of our eyes. All of the inequities are unveiled day by day, and we're on our way to a new place, and we're just not quite there yet. So we are evolving with the times. And so what we decided to do, instead of renaming it because we couldn't quite get there, is to start to deconstruct ourselves on the way to the new world. The way that we have to decolonize ourselves and our bodies and our mind, we started to do with our logo. So I'm going to share with you our new website and our new look. Here we go. So, my messy screen, there we go. This is our new logo up here at the top, SheEO, and we've put a line through the S and the H to start to deconstruct gender. And then the second E starts to get deconstructed on the way to equitable systems. So it's beyond equals, 3 lines for equitable. And then the O really represents holistic together. So we're deconstructing gender on the way to creating equitable systems together, is how we look at our logo. Everything is in caps and it's freshened up. And my pile of purple scarves have been archived. And I have a whole new series of teal scarves, which are beautiful, which I will start to wear on brand. I still love purple. It's an accent color with our new brand. But this is our new website, and we have put the brand and SheEO in the background. And what has come forward is this unbelievable community of all of you activators and ventures who are transforming systems. So brand in the back, purple's gone, and bringing forth a teal, lighter touch world. And so this is our website. It is live now at sheeo.world. We are using these symbols of plus for activators. Everything you do is additive. So it's money and it's resources and it's support and the X is for our collaboration together, the co-creation, and then equitable systems with the equal sign. So you'll see these throughout our website as we showcase. It's just so much cleaner, lots of white. What is an activator? Super clear, tons of testimonials. We have so much content that you can view on here. What is a venture? Represented by these zeros, holistic. They bring their whole selves here. It's very rare for ventures to be able to walk into a funding scenario where they feel like they can be completely honest about what's going on for them. And because of our spirit of radical generosity, we create this very welcoming environment. And so that is met with the full circle, the holistic. Our ecosystem, all kinds of new upgrades on our look and feel here. One of our favorite lines, we're not here to win, we're here to transform, with our impact on the front page, and lots of videos. We have lots of testimonial videos that you can read through and see here. And importantly, of course, is our land acknowledgements that we are working very closely with our Indigenous sisters globally, because we think this is the path to, Indigenous wisdom is the path to a life-sustaining society. So it's here. We're very excited. This is a dramatic transformation. I can't even stand looking at our website anymore, the old one, all the purple blobs. So the new world is all about all of us coming together, and we're very, very excited to showcase this to you. One thing, I just want to go to the venture page for a moment and show you that we have, it's been really challenging to try and figure out how to put our portfolio up so people can see all of this. We have 68 ventures. And within the next 6 months, we'll be adding another 20 to 25 ventures. So we'll be just shy of 100 ventures 6 months from now. And all of this started with Canadian women stepping forward. So we're so excited. This portfolio that we have now is organized by the SDGs. And so you can go in and you can look at what country are you in, and you can see all the ventures in Canada that are on this list. You can look by sustainable development goal, and you can see which ventures are doing climate action, which ventures are focused on gender equality. And they're all organized here in a way that you can have a quick look and play through and get a sense of all the ventures instead of having to go through all those cards. Finally, we have just a massive amount of content in our Learn section, which is divided up by systems, ventures, mindset, and finance, which were the tracks that we had at our global summit. And so we have podcasts, press articles, blogs across each of these content areas. So just a ton of information to go look through. These are all of MJ's blogs from the calls that we've been doing. And just the mindsets that we need to transfer to. So we've gone from a 200-page website to a 7-page website, which is the work of Hannah, who is clapping right now. We have dramatically simplified everything, which you can only do when you're deeply clear about who you are. And so I just feel very honored to be part of all of this with you. Very excited about this, and open up for questions if anyone has any questions. You can throw it in the chat box or.
Awesome job, ladies. This feels so good. Thank you to everyone.
Oh, thank you very much, Donna.
Also, Vicki, I think it would be fun to also say why teal.
Oh, well, I don't know. Was it actually intentional? We sort of look at things after and we're like, that's exactly what we wanted to do. But a teal organization, in case you're not aware, you can Google it, but a teal organization is a self-organizing, evolutionary kind of organization of the future where people bring their whole selves forward. So the definition is literally like SheEO, and that happens to be what this new definition of teal organization is. But we played a lot with our previous colors and not going too dramatically off that. But teal is as the main, and then we're going to have an accent of red, as you can see through the website, and purple. Okay, just looking through some things. It looks elegant and intuitive. Thank you. Yeah, it's just so much cleaner. And so we'll see. I think there are still people that really want us to change our name, and there are lots of people who want us to keep our name. So as we evolve, we'll continue to keep you up to date on what we're thinking. And please keep providing feedback. There's a little pop-up on the website right now that we're in beta, and please provide feedback. We'd love to hear more about that, except for ideas on changing the colors, because that's not happening right now. But if you have other ideas on things that are missing, we're very happy to play with that. We'd love to iterate with all of you.
Yeah, I just want to say to everyone in the organization, my name's Hannah Cree. I'm a venture in residence in Canada, and I have a background in marketing, and this was the most dramatic and transformative brand change that I've been able to be involved in my life. And it was so collaborative, from all the feedback from the activators to having Ali on board, bringing on a designer. We had a company, Brand Wash, come in, and we said, we have a month. We're going to build this website. I have to tell you, in all my marketing years, it takes 6 months to a year to even get a website out. This happened really quickly and with ease, and with a ton of feedback. And I text Vicki, I remember, Ali, when we got all the designs back, and we kind of went from an and. The original logo kind of had an ampersand in it, and that was our first choice. And then this new logo was the last one on the list. And we all, within 24 hours, just went to that last one going, no, I think that's where we need to be. And so to be able to have a logo that speaks about the evolution of deconstructing gender and moving into equitable systems together has so much meaning. And so I just really wanted to thank everyone that's been involved on the SheEO team, to the activators and ventures and all the feedback. I text Vicki halfway through this and was like, is it wrong to be so in love with a brand? That's never happened to me, and I've been in marketing for years. And so I think it really speaks, and to have a website that truly is filled with so many real testimonials all the way through. The website is actually telling the story through your words, through your testimonials. And that is really exceptional and speaks to the organization. And so I have my teal scarf just to, bring that on. It's all here. And I can't wait. So thank you for bringing this to life too, Vicki, and leading this, and always being iterative in feedback and so on.
I would also like to say how crazy it is to do a brand refresh when you can't really do new photography in the middle of COVID.
Thank you.
Which is kind of a crazy thing. So someone sent a note last night. The video is just looking a little dull. I mean, I think you need to fix the lights. And we're like, we'll get on that when we get back in a room and we can actually do a video together. So thank you. And really, that we do, for those who still feel it's not enough and not inclusive enough, we hear you. May a new name come through us when it's ready. I think it's just one of these things that we really want things like a name to not block people from coming into this community. It's really important to us. And at the same time, if a name stops people from stepping into something that's living the values of what we need in the world, that's also an issue, because to be able to transform systems, we have to be able to transform ourselves. We have to walk into things that are uncomfortable sometimes to create that next path forward. And so we're doing that each day. And we really, we hope that as you share this out in the world with people who maybe have some objections around the name still, that you can share a little bit more of the deeper story of what we've actually been working with. It's not easy to get to this new path going forward, whatever this world is going to look like. And so we're here for the tough conversations too. So please share those if you've got them, and share the love. We like the love too. Anyone else want to say anything before we sign off and see what happened on Facebook with all the comments? Thank you, everybody. The elder wraps the blanket scarf around each girl and woman. Nice. Thank you, Veronica. Okay, well, on that note, happy Tuesday, happy September. Love you all. And thank you so much for getting up early or joining us midday if you're coming from the UK or other places. Thanks so much. Take care.